Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for today's Falcon live chat entitled Financing Your Students' Education. Just a little bit of context as to what our Falcon live chat series is. This is an opportunity for us to be able to provide some on-demand content to our students' families, parents, supporters, guardians, whomever might be supporting our students. We really value our family members, and we recognize that you are partners in this experience with your student. There are dedicated, passionate faculty, staff, student leaders who will be there to be able to provide this information and much more throughout this onboarding process and once your students arrive to Bentley. But we recognize that you have been with them much longer than they've been a part of the Bentley community, and they're still probably going to reach out to you with questions or to process something that they're trying to navigate on their own. And so we really view this series as an opportunity to provide you that information and that context so that you can help to be an ambassador of these resources as well. We also want to acknowledge that we are incredibly grateful that we have students who are joining our community from all across the globe. And with that, it would be nearly impossible to find a time to host this session live that would work for everyone. So with that, we are recording this session so that you're able to access this at a time that may be a bit more convenient for you. To access the recording, you can do a simple search of Bentley Orientation YouTube, or you can go to our website, which is bentley.edu/orientation, and you can find a direct link there. It will include today's recording along with other Falcon Live chats that we've hosted in the past. So please feel free to take a look at that when you get an opportunity. In addition, we will be leaving some time at the end of the presentation to answer questions. So please feel free to put any of those questions using the Q&A button on your screen. Given today's topic, we do recognize that some of this might be very personal or individual to you or your students' personal financial situation. And so we might not be able to cover all of the questions today, but we do invite you to reach out for a continued conversation so that way your student is fully supported in whatever questions they may have. All right, so before we get started, I do want to just give some quick updates, given that we have some deadlines that are happening this week. So our new Falcon experience is really this onboarding timeframe that your student is participating in, beginning to connect with the community, beginning to complete some of these tasks, really starting to understand what is this foundational piece that's going to help them to thrive and succeed once they are eventually here on campus and really kickstarting this experience. So you will notice that they have been starting to complete some checklist tasks. On the right-hand side of the screen are some deadlines for those upcoming tasks. So our critical reading and writing essay, our math selection survey, these are two pieces that are incredibly important for your student to complete if they have not. For our family members of transfer students, your student may have already completed some of these at your previous institution, but they have that information. So please just give them a little nudge to make sure that they're checking this out. Our online orientation program called Bentley Beginnings is something that we do also ask all students to complete. That deadline is also approaching. And if you would like to access that information to familiarize yourself with a broader range of resources at Bentley, you are welcome to do that. Again, if you access our website, you'll be able to click on that and create a guest account. If your student is asking about course registration, that will take place in January, on January 11th, and they will be hearing from us shortly about some advising and registration preparation videos that they'll be able to review in order to get ready for course registration in January. We have some social opportunities for students, and they can sign up for those on their Bentley Connect portal. And last but not least, I wanted to direct your attention to our orientation program. This is really the pinnacle experience where students will physically come to campus. If they're living on campus, they'll move into their residence halls and they'll have the opportunity to connect with faculty, staff, some peers, and really start to get settled as they begin this experience at Bentley. So I wanted to draw your attention to a few arrival dates. So if your student is an international student, they will arrive on the 17th. So that way they can get settled. There's some specific information that the Center for International Students and Scholars will be covering on those first 2 days. And if you are traveling with your student on the 17th, you're invited to come to our welcome reception that evening. If you are not, no worries. We will have some other opportunities for you to connect with the team later on. For domestic students, so that includes students who are permanent residents or are residents of the United States, you will be arriving on the 18th if you are living in a residence hall. If your student is commuting and they are not an international student, then they will arrive on the 19th. So I know those are very specific dates, so I wanted to make sure that I could cover that for folks. If there are any questions about any of this, you're welcome to reach out to us at orientation@bentley.edu. And my last plug, we do offer a virtual workshop for our family members on February 7th. This is an opportunity for us to share with you a little bit about what your student experienced during orientation. There's a welcome from our Vice President for Student Affairs, and then we cover some of the focus areas of support for your student in regards to social connections, equity, inclusion, and belonging, and also health and well-being. And then we will also talk about what the academic experience in the first year looks like for our first year students and transfer students. And then we have a student panel. So please look out for an invitation for that event, and we hope to see you there. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with today's topic. I'm going to turn it over to our campus expert to introduce herself and talk a little bit about funding and financing here at Bentley.
Thank you. I'm Lauren Sullivan. I'm the Executive Director of Student Financial Services. So I do want to preface this by saying it's pretty high level because we want to be providing as much information to the largest population as we can. That said, let's just talk a little bit about our office and our services. So within our office, and you can go to the next slide, Bobby Lynn, thanks. So within our office, we're overseeing billing, collecting fees. That includes tuition, housing, and meal plans, and anything that you're going to be billed for by the university. We're going to counsel you on these items. We're going to counsel you on your payment options, like the payment plan, alternative loans, any kind of financial aid that you might be eligible to apply for. And we oversee the administration of all of these financial aid programs. Now, I include this list here, and this is easily accessible on our website because these are the people that are going to be assigned by alphabetical split to be your expert, your guide through the Office of Student Financial Services on these topics. We recently merged offices starting in a soft launch in August, but for 23-24, this is our first year that we've combined the student account side, the billing side, with the financial aid, and student employment is something we also oversee. So we're a one-stop shop for anything financial services related for you. We have student account reps that are experts in the billing side of things. You can see that Cassandra and Becky up top. And then we have financial aid counselors by, again, alphabetical split that oversee all things financial assistance. And again, you can find all of these experts listed on our Meet the Team section of our website. Going in, I think I talk about determining educational cost first. So this is just a single slide showing what the cost of attendance on average is for our first year students in the spring. And I believe I might have left off the one-time new student fee of $250. You're going to include both direct, which are billed costs, and indirect, which are really out-of-pocket costs when you're considering how to budget for your term, for each term in at Bentley University. So you can see the tuition, the student activity fee, and if you're an on-campus, this is a resident budget. If you're on campus, this is the average for our first year students that they paying for their meal plan and their housing choice. You also have to budget for your books and supplies or your personal expenses that you're going to experience through that term. These are averages and they're going to be dependent upon the individual. I also include just quickly down at the bottom here, it's not in the breakdown because the majority of our students who are domestic students that have comparable health insurance are able to waive out of this, but students are required to have health insurance at universities in Massachusetts. The fee for spring is $1,441. It'll be billed automatically and you need to choose to enroll or you need to go through the waiver process to waive out of that. So if you haven't seen this already, you can go to our website and find the information about waiving out of the health insurance and getting that going at this time. We do send notification about it, but you can go ahead and be proactive if you have comparable insurance to lower that bill by the $1,400. All right, talking a little bit about funding options and opportunities. So these are very like a short list basics, and it's very high level because everybody that might be listening to this might be eligible for different levels of funding opportunities or different types of them. If you're a US citizen or a permanent resident and you're enrolled full-time, you can apply for both federal and institutional financial aid. I believe a lot of people who are on this might have already done so, but if you haven't and you think you might be eligible, it's not too late to apply. What I would urge you to do is go to our site, find the application items that are needed. It's typically a FAFSA, the CSS profile, tax documents, and get that kicked off and reach out to your financial aid counselor assigned to your last name to let them know that you have applied for financial aid and that you're looking for a review at this point. We have processes to pick them up, but I always encourage students to be proactive, especially at this sort of late point in the game, but it's not too late to be considered. Again, you have to be US citizen or permanent resident to qualify for the need-based assistance. There's also alternative loan funding that families might look into. Those are from private sources like your Sallie Mae's, your Empowers. If you are eligible for federal aid, you're a parent, you might want to apply for a Parent Plus loan. They have all levels of these. So you could be the student as a primary borrower and the parent or anyone who's a credit-worthy co-signer can sign on to an educational loan. Excuse me. Or it could, if you're a parent and you want it to just be in your name, there are parent level loans that are straight in the parent name. There are more limited options if a student were trying to apply for an alternative loan source without a co-signer. Those might be, Empower is a well-known one, and a lot of international students take advantage of that loan, but there are a lot of lenders out there. We do have a list that we keep on a website called Elm, like the tree, Elm Select, and that's where you can start your research. And if you have questions about the process, you're always welcome to contact our office, and we can go over the ins and outs and the benefits of different types of alternative loans. There's also free scholarship search platforms, and there's a lot of those out there too. If you just were to Google educational scholarships, you're going to have a lot of stuff pop up. We have a list on our site of a few, and I will list a couple in our next slide, but this is really where you can create a profile with as much or as little information as you want. And these search engines are matching you to different scholarships that you might be eligible for. Now, it's a lot of legwork on your end. We aren't, as an institution, aware of any specific place that has a pool of money. There's so many different third-party, sort of sources that might have this, but be aware of deadlines. At this point, you might want to be looking right now. A lot have January deadlines, and they can be, small or large amounts. It really depends on the source. But this can help defray the cost. If you're a need-based financial aid applicant, you do need to report any scholarships that you receive so that we can make sure that it doesn't impact any other aid that you're receiving in any way, because the calculation means that you have an eligibility level that we have to make sure that we are maintaining with all of your aid sources. But if you were an outside scholarship recipient, it is uncommon that any kind of need-based gift aid, that's grant or scholarships, would need to be impacted. It really is self-help like work study or federal subsidized loans that might be impacted. But again, it's uncommon. We do everything we can not to have that happen. And lastly, we do have paid employment opportunities on campus. If you're a need-based aid applicant, this could be in the form of federal work study, but we also have Bentley work programs, which are not need-based, and students who have who are eligible to work in the United States are eligible to apply for on-campus jobs. We have opened up jobs campus-wide. So if you do not have work study and a financial aid award, but you are interested in working on campus and have the eligibility to do so, you can contact our student employment manager, who is also listed on our website. It's Carla Aguirre. And you can let her know that you're looking to get access to those job opportunities. We can award Bentley work program, and you can see the list of jobs that are available out there. So on the next slide, I think I just have a few external resources. EduPass is, I believe, a little bit focused on international students, just guiding students on the admission, financial aid, or just cultural transition process and much more. I believe they also have a search engine for outside scholarships through their website. FastWeb is a really common search engine for those outside scholarships we talked about that will match you with scholarships that align with your profile and the application process to each of those. And then the scholarships for development, that is also a little bit international focused for international scholarships open to students from developing countries. And then, of course, collegescholarships.org is another well-known outside scholarship search engine. But again, there are many more than this. And there could be just anything direct that you're applying to through maybe a parent's employer, or get in touch with your old high school because they might have had stuff. You know, they could come from anywhere. You just have to do a little bit of the legwork. I think we're going into our billing and paying the tuition. So in terms of important dates, just an additional list for you in addition to what you've just seen from December. We have put out the student accounts for spring. So you can go into your Workday account and generate this at any time. You can generate a billing statement at any time throughout the term, and it will show you the in-time bill as it stands. So you might want to periodically look through that in case any additional charges come up for any reason. If you've made a meal plan change, or for example, or something like that. We do reach out to students, but it's, again, you have the ability to go on and check at any point. So those are available. The due date for undergraduate students is January 8th. And I will say that the university is on a 2-week break before that comes out. So questions we're logging in to check, but you want to be thinking about your payment options now. And you can see in between those two things that the first payment plan installment starts on December 15th. So if you're thinking about utilizing a payment plan and you want to break that out into the maximum number of payments, then that really is something that you're starting before the end of next week. The deadline to enroll in a payment plan, just in general, is January 18th, and we don't need to pay attention to our graduate level payments right now. And I'll talk about payment plan more in a little bit, but January 8th is the date you really want to remember. That's the date that's due for the undergraduate students. All right. So you can find the 23-24 rate sheet on our Student Financial Services website. And what this is going to show, it's a PDF of our various rates that are out there to include tuition cost and things like that. But it will also include individual housing for the year, because there are a lot of housing options and different payment plans for the year. So that's kind of what that's useful for. What I showed to you is our published cost of attendance just divided by 2. That's also available on the financial aid side of our website. I'd like to talk about third-party users. And if you haven't done this yet, I would recommend that you do it as soon as possible. What third-party user is that you're giving your parent or guardian or whoever you would like to have access to your information, access to it, right? So you're responsible for setting up your third-party user. Once you've done it, it carries forward. And what this will allow is, if you have a parent or guardian that is contacting the office to say, oh, how much is the bill? We can share that information with them. If they don't have that access, we are not able to share that information with them. We can communicate only with you. If you want them to have access to billings, notifications, we can email them with this access, but we cannot email them if you have not set that up. So I highly encourage students who haven't done so to go ahead and get that process started, so that parents and guardians can communicate with us a little more freely. Like I said, the statements that you're going to generate out of Workday are real time based on the activity on the student account at that time. Students, if you've registered after the second week of December, you just want to monitor, because it's going to, if you're not enrolled for at least 12 credits, it's going to bill you based on course. So you want to make sure that you're being billed at your full-time rate, as most students are enrolled for at least 12 credits at full time. I will note that past due holds are placed on unresolved accounts. So that's 14 days after that January 8th deadline. And then 30 days beyond that deadline is when late payment fees start to be charged. If you are having any issue with making payments, contact our office. Okay, this is just a little example of viewing a bill, and I know I have a graduate example in here. I didn't have time to get a new one, but we're not generating the billing statements, you are. And when you generate it, you're generally going to see what the tuition and what all the charges are at top, what the payment and credits that have dispersed so far, and then any anticipated payments. So say you applied for an alternative loan, and it's been certified by our office, you would see that pending under anticipated payments towards your bill, and the amount that is showing as your total balance due would account for that. And again, you can, third parties access can allow you to generate these statements as well, so a parent or a student could do it. These are a couple of ways that several ways that you can pay your bill. You can go through eCheck or ACH payment in Workday. You just need to log into your Workday account to pay it. If you're an international student, you can pay by Flywire. This is a very convenient way. It makes it really easy for international students to submit their payments through. We do accept cryptocurrency. If that's something that you are going to do, it will send you to a form, and then we might request information from there, but we have a form set up to process that. It's just a little bit more manual on our side. You can also use a credit card to pay, but just be aware that there are convenience fees that apply for domestic cards. That is 2.85%. And for international credit cards, it's 4.25%. And of course, you can go the old-fashioned way and submit a check to our cashier's office. And this information is also available on our site, but I list that here. I think we get that a little less frequently than we get the e-check payments from our students and our families these days. Excuse me, sorry, losing my voice a little bit. So I want to talk a little just bit more about payment plans in depth. So there are those deadlines that I posted out there. Essentially, you can break it out into up to 4 payments, and that starts December 15th. So if you enroll by December 15th, then you can break it into 4. If you enroll by January 15th, you can break it into 3. And if you enroll by that January 18th date, that's our last date to enroll, it would be breaking it out into 2 payments. So if you feel that you can make any kind of out-of-pocket payment throughout this time, just on a monthly basis instead of in bulk upfront for that January 8th deadline, this is a really good tool for it. Anyone can sign up for this. You don't have to be a US citizen or permanent resident. This is for everybody to utilize. It's run by the university. There's no interest involved in it. It just has a $35 enrollment fee, and you have to enroll each term that you want to participate in the payment plan. This can be used in conjunction with other aid sources. So if you have one person in your life that's making a bulk payment at January 8th, and you have someone that wants to enroll in the payment plan, then you can do that. You just need to make sure that any payments that you're making up front are made before you enroll in the payment plan to break it down, because the system is going to automatically take what you have due and divide it into the number of payments that are left. You have to agree to the terms and conditions before you can enroll. And students need to set up the payment plan, and then third-party users can make the payments once the student has enrolled in the plan. If you are making payments late, there's a $20 late payment fee per late payment. And ultimately, if you miss 2 in a row, we would remove you from the plan, and you would just have the balance due at that time. I think there was something else I wanted to say about this. Yeah, so the enrollment does not carry over each semester. You have to re-enroll each year. And also, we don't have an automatic payment system. You have to log in and pay by the 15th each month. So that's on you to notify yourself, essentially, to log in, although we're working on providing more notification, hopefully in the future, as we go through our merger process and find better ways to be more efficient about items. But you just have to know to go in and pay the 15th of each month. All right, this isn't a very detailed slide, and I actually have some links up over next to me to try to go over this a little bit, but there are detailed instructions for a lot of workday processes here at Bentley. So if you're not sure how to do something, there are a lot of worklets that have been created for that, for parents and for students for that purpose. But if you have funds that are going to exceed your billed expenses, so say you wanted to borrow an alternative loan to pay for all of your bill, and you're going to have a credit to help you cover the cost of your books out of pocket. If you have a credit, as all that aid disperses on your account at the start of the semester, then you can request a refund request to get that funding and help you finance that. And for example, if you are a student in the future living in an off-campus apartment and you needed funds to help pay for your rent and things like that, that's the kind of situation that we are seeing. So once there's a credit, a legitimate credit on there, students can request that refund, but you first have to set up your banking information. And to set up your banking information, you go onto Workday, it's under the Finances tab, and then under your account, you set up your payment elections. And we highly recommend that you have an election that would direct deposit to an account rather than cut a check, just for the fastest, most efficient and secure way to get your funding as quickly as possible. And then once you've set up your banking information, you can create a request in Workday to get your refund. And that is how it should be very simple. Once your banking information's in there, and if you ever have a credit in the future, you simply have to do the create request step. So that will happen in the new year when everything disperses at the start of classes. I don't know if I think that's it for me. So it was very high level. And I know that there might be a lot of really specific questions to individual student situations. And that's what our office is here to help guide you with. So this is our general account information to get to our student financial services administrators, who are incredibly knowledgeable and helpful and can help direct you to the most the most useful, I want to say person, but like useful place to find the information that you need, whether it's a student account rep, whether it's a financial aid counselor, or maybe it's a different office that's going to answer your question better than us. But that's what we're here for, and we welcome all your questions.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Lauren, for sharing all that content. I know that this can be content that can be really confusing, and I feel like you just laid it out so perfectly and so user-friendly. And I will also say, as someone who helps to answer some of these questions, just working in orientation, I feel like your web resources are so helpful. So I know you were directing folks there, but please use those. And we will link that website in the recording of this as well, so that way folks will have easy access. But with that being said, did want to open it up for any questions that any participants might have. So we'll just give it a moment to see if there are any questions that you have. Yes, you did such a great job that everyone feels so knowledgeable.
They'll just go directly to their counselors and their student account reps.
One of the question did just come in, and it says, is it recommended that international students open a bank account with a local bank?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I don't think I've ever had it before, but I feel like it's probably advisable. Have you gotten this question very often? I just think it's going to be ease of use for students here.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We have seen, and we will host for our new students on the 18th a vendor fair where we bring in a bunch of local banks. They have no affiliation to Bentley, but they are interested in wanting to be available for our international students. So we'll have some different providers, different telephone vendors that we work with, different bank providers. So we do encourage folks to consider speaking with them, but I do think for ease of use, it has been helpful for people to just have an account here in the United States, but I don't believe it is a expectation, but we do know that that is something that people have really appreciated having access to.
Yeah, the next question is about the paying with 529 plan, and I would contact your plan directly to work out sending the payment and the information. In terms of ways, I do know that Flywire has partnered with several institutions that have the ability to process 529 payments as well. But I think your first step is to contact the entity that you have your 529 with. But if you have questions about that process, I would refer you to your student account representative, which by alphabetical split, and that will be either Cassandra Brodus or Becky Turner, and they will be happy to answer more questions on that because they're more expert than me.
Wonderful. I'm going to give one more call out for any other looming questions that folks have. While we're waiting for that, Lauren, are there any tips or any bits of information that you want to share to folks before we head off? Whether it's, you know, something that you've seen that's helped people successfully navigate the work that your team does, or any bit of it.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
There are the main point of contact for students is their Bentley email address, because we can verify that you own that. Third-party access is very important for parents or guardians or whoever you want to get the information that we are able to send to them, but you are the primary owner of your information here at Bentley University. So make sure that you are looking for the important stuff, anything that might look finance related, action items. We all in life get really inundated with email, but you need to be paying attention to see what is really junk and what is real. And I would also say, if you have not set up a voicemail, I know no one talks on the phone, but we do try to reach out by phone. So make sure that you have up-to-date contact information in your Workday account, so that we can reach you with the really important stuff.
Yeah, I think that is absolutely great advice. I do think for many students, this might be the first time that they are really owning their experience, whether it's financial or health records or their education experience. And so we have seen that is where there's a little bit of a learning curve. And so for families or students who are joining us on this call, please do prioritize this, because the university will be communicating with you through your Bentley email. We will be using the Workday portal to be communicating with you. And while we do view our family members as partners in this, we really do need the students to, you know, take the initiative on this, and families can be there to support, but students really do have to own this process. So. Wonderful. Well, please, to anybody who is viewing this as a recording, please reach out to us via email. We're happy to continue the conversation. For those of you who have joined us live, thank you for taking time out of your busy day to be here with us. And we look forward to seeing you on campus soon. Thank you all so much, and take care.